Hello everyone, welcome to Module 12, the 3x stack method and ad auction formula. Here's what we're going to be covering today. We're going to be going over the campaign special offer stack. This is a method that we use to maximize results in return on ad spend. We're then going to be looking at past campaign sale data, so that way you can get an idea of what these campaigns look like over the course of a year. And then we're going to be covering the Facebook quarterly statistics to get a better understanding of how much ad spend is out there during each quarter of the year. And then we're going to be going over how the ad auction works, so that way you can understand the exact formula for what is being used to allow you to generate results and be more competitive. This formula is the formula that will allow you to know exactly what you need to do to improve your results. And number 5, the overall best practices for campaign setups on special offers. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're currently in the optimization strategies. This is one optimization strategy for special offers that you might be running throughout the year. And so when going over the campaign offer stack, the first thing that we want to cover is, when offering a special offer, whether it's a sale, a discount, a bundle, a freebie, we found that one campaign structure with 3 of your highest performing audience stacks works best. Essentially what that means is you'll have a single campaign that you'll create. Anytime you're running a special sale, discount, bundle, freebie, you'll end up launching this specific campaign. And you'll have all of your retargeting audiences stacked into one single ad set. You'll have all of your interest stacked into one single ad set, and these interests are going to be your highest performing ones. You'll only take the ones that you know have converted in the past and stack them. And number 3, which is your lookalike stack, all of your highest performing lookalikes stacked together. And to clarify what a stack is, it's essentially multiple audiences that are performing, and you're essentially putting them all together in one single audience. So let's say that you have a page view and a purchase 180 day. Those are 2 separate audiences of retargeting. You're stacking them by putting those together. So it's a page view and a purchase, audience in the same exact ad set. So they're stacked together. That's what a stack is. And what you'll end up doing is we set the daily budgets to either $100 to $250 per day. This budget ranges depending on, how much you're willing to spend. We found that, a minimum of at least $100 is enough for the system to get some data to optimize, as well as enough delivery to be able to, generate results. And then we also found that, around the $250 day per mark is, really a good average overall over the course of a 4 to 5 day period of maximizing results. You can scale higher than that depending on, what ROAS you're comfortable with. And the next one is having one ad that highlights the special offer. This isn't a time to be testing a bunch of different offers or a bunch of different ads. This is you taking your best retargeting, lookalikes, and interest stacks, highest performing ones, and then you're creating only one ad with that special offer that you know is going to convert, and you're putting that ad in each of those audience stacks. And then you're running it at a max for 4 to 5 days, so that way you can really maximize that special offer time period. The longer you run it, if the offer, will start to fade out, or, this is really for a time period where you don't want to be doing evergreen campaigns. This is really just to focus on a single sale to, maximize results during a short time frame, so that way you can give an overall lift to your revenue. So let's go ahead and look at that campaign offer stack. This one is an example that we've ran. And when offering, this special offer, we ended up taking the best retargetings, put them together. We took our best interests, put them together, took our best lookalikes and put them together. And we set a $100 daily budget for 2 days. And it spent a little bit over about $219. And during that 2-day period, we got 68 purchases at $3.22 per purchase. And just for, just to understand what our average cost per purchase is, it's around $20 to $25, and even as high as like $30 to $35 on a cost per purchase with our, evergreen campaigns. And this is going to cold audiences. This offer is entirely new people are seeing this specific offer, and it's still converting at, if not a better rate than the retargeting stack is. So it's super awesome to see numbers like these, because you can achieve, crazy ROAS like a 23x in some cases with lookalikes, or, 14x in cold, but also be achieving, around the same metrics with your current audiences in the retargeting, like a 20x. And we let this run during that 2-day period, and then, that audience was cut off. It was like a 48-hour sale, and we, made a very specific offer that was 45% off, and it was site-wide, so that way anybody could use it. And I'll go over in more detail how this specific sale works, so that way you can get an idea and understand all the other pieces that also play into this. But this is the structure that we use. It's the retargeting, lookalikes, and the interest stack, and one ad is in each of these audiences, and those ads are the same. And if you do not have a stack of your high-performing lookalikes or high-performing interests, then you're only going to do one stack of your retargeting audiences for each special offer you run. This will include all of the people who visited your site. This will include all of the people who engaged with your Facebook and Instagram ads. This will include all of your past customers and purchasers. You combine those three into one single stack, and that will be the offer layout you use. If you don't know your interests that are performing, and if you don't know your lookalikes that are performing, this is the stack that you'll use. The structure still works just as great, if not, better, just by having that single, retargeting stack. And this is the campaign sell data over the course of a year time frame, and we're going to be going over each of these independent sales. What's really important to note here is you can do a sale for just about every holiday of the year if you really wanted to, and these sales are going to run outside of your evergreen campaigns, which are the ones that you run year round. They might not include special offers. It's just your standard campaign that you're running year round. These are going to be the ones that you decide to run on specific dates, and you're only going to run them for a short period with a really amazing offer to really maximize your overall sales during that period. So, in this case, that offer we were just talking about earlier was that 45% off, and it got the 18x return on ad spend, and it only spent $235, which was roughly $100 per day, spent a little bit over. And what this offer was just a warehouse sale. We said we're doing a warehouse sale, 45% off, and it achieved those results. And the interesting thing about this warehouse sale was during Q2, which is quarter two, during summer. And so there's a lot less competition as well during this time period. So this campaign did have the opportunity to scale a lot more, but since we were running such a high offer, we only wanted to keep it during a short time period and cut it off very quickly, so that way we could just build a bunch of buzz around it, and then the offer's gone, so other individuals would continue to purchase on the standard entry-level offer that we had. And then you can run sales for Mother's Day, Father's Day. You can run it for an anniversary with your company. If it's your first year, second year, third year anniversary, you can do anniversary sales. Those work great. You can do 4th of July sales. You can do Memorial Day sales. You can do giveaways, and you can still see purchases with those. You can do Father's Day, Labor Day, and then you can even do a random sale. We just came up with a special offer during 9/2 to 9/6. There was really no, specific holiday we were pushing around. We were just making a special offer. And all of these got, really amazing return on ad spend. And you'll see specifically, like on days like the Memorial Day, we were spending about $250 per day at around a 4 to 5 day period, which is why, amount spent is around $1,250. And you can continue to scale these up as long as you're, comfortable with the ROAS. So essentially, if you're getting a 10x return on ad spend and, you've ran this for 4 days at $100 each, well, you might say that, you're willing to scale it up even more by going to 250 to 500 daily, just, to see how much further you can push this. You will see a diminished return on ad spend, but, these offers are really good for maximizing a short time period. So now what we're going to do is we're going to jump into the overall Facebook advertising spend by quarter. And what's important to know here is during Q1 and Q2 of the year, there's less spend on the Facebook platform. So since there's less spend, there's going to be naturally less competition. There's going to be more room to scale ad spend because there's going to be more inventory available for you to, get results. And the system's going to have more data to optimize since you're going to be able to achieve more purchases, which helps the algorithm learn faster. So scaling during Q1 and Q2 will allow you to get way more results at the beginning of the year since your competition is less likely to be running special offers during this time period. So if you're running special offers and finding more ways to come up with offers during Q1 and Q2, you could really have an amazing, beginning of the year that's just as dominant as the later half of the year. Most people will see pretty standard sales throughout the beginning of the year, throughout summer, and then around fall, they start running all their offers and they see these big explosive growth in revenue, and then they see, come Christmas time, they're getting all these sales, Black Friday and so forth, but they, then don't run any offers really at all at the beginning of the year, and that's when there's the least amount of competition, the least amount of spend, which gives you the highest amount of opportunity. We get way better ROASs at the beginning of the year, so we decided to run special offers at the beginning of the year and beat out our Black Friday, beat out our Christmas holiday sales, just by, being able to time the market and know exactly when individuals are online and when the least amount of spend is, and knowing when our competitors are running campaigns, and we're, going to war in times where they're least expecting it. We're doing offers when they would never anticipate an offer going out. We're doing things that they would never even realize that somebody would end up doing during a time period at the beginning of the year, because there's nothing for them to even decide on running an offer for. They're focused on the later half of the year, so are we, but we're also focusing on the beginning half, which is allowing us to get as many sales at the later half as our competitors, allowing us to double our growth, year over year, and achieve much better results. So this is a time period that you really want to consider, coming up with a really strategic plan during Q1 and Q2. And just to understand how this process works, we're going to be going over the ad auction delivery, how exactly this formula makes sense, and how you can actually achieve amazing results. So just high level, what this is the formula for the Facebook algorithm system. There is an actual formula that is used on the back end that the system uses to be able to decide whether or not it's going to show your ad to somebody versus showing someone else's ad over yours. The first thing it takes into consideration is going to be the advertiser bid. And what you set your budget to / what you're willing to pay per result is the advertising bid. So if you're willing to pay $10 per purchase, that is what the advertiser bid is. That's what you're willing to spend on a purchase. And if you're set to lowest cost, whatever your daily budget is for your lowest cost is essentially, your advertiser bid, because there's going to be days where you quite literally might not get any sales, or you might just get one sale, and that would be your advertiser bid. And then you have your estimated auction rates, which is an estimate of whether a particular person engages with or converts from a particular ad. In other words, the probability that showing an ad to a person leads to that desired outcome of the advertiser. So an estimated auction rate would be like, potentially there's 100 people who would be willing to purchase your product, today on Facebook, right? So that's the estimated auction rates. And so the system takes into account that it, is predicting that there is going to be about 100 people who are willing to convert from your ad. The system's making that prediction based off of, how active a user is, how, like, if they're on Facebook, if they're on their news feed, how many impressions could your ad serve in the places that these people are willing to purchase. That person has had a history of purchasing in the past. This person is usually converted with products similar to yours. This person is pretty open to testing new products. So therefore, that's an estimated auction rate. It's a predicament of the actual number of people willing to purchase. Then you have your user value, which is by far one of the more important pieces here that's really going to determine a lot of your results. The user value considers relevance and ad quality. The more relevant your ad is to your audience, the more competitive it's likely to be to an ad auction. So that essentially means that you want to have an ad that is actually relevant to an audience. You don't want to serve an ad with baby diapers to people who are at the age of 17 who don't have a baby. There's no reason for them to be seeing baby diapers. They don't have a baby, so that's just an unrelevant ad. You want to show baby diapers to mothers who have children that need diapers. So that is the audience that is more relevant. So you want to have a relevant audience. That's one factor. The other thing is how relevant the algorithm predicts an ad will be to a person is the less it will cost the advertiser. So the important part is within that audience, even if you chose mothers as an audience, the system's still going to make a predicament based out of all those individuals who is most likely to make a purchase in this case as well. But the other factors, which are signals for the user value, which are the pieces that really are measurable for you and you can take action on, are going to be from how people interact with organic and paid content in the past, as well as the ad quality and post-click experience. So the system's going to look at your ad, it's going to check its quality, it's going to check your landing page and see how the post-click experience is, how many clicks it takes to purchase. It's going to use all of this data to determine your user value. It includes your offer and everything. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to run through an example of what this looks like. What we have is our advertiser bid. And just to go over this one more time, advertiser bid is what you're willing to pay. So let's say what you're willing to pay is $10 per purchase. You're willing to spend $10 to get a sale. That's your advertiser bid. Now let's do our estimated auction rate. This is what the system determines. This is out of your control. This depends on your product. If you're selling diapers, for example, this is however many mothers are active at the time with a baby that, they need diapers for. They might already have, 100 boxes of diapers. They might not need any more additional diapers. But, you're still targeting that audience. So you would, potentially have diapers that are more beneficial. So this is really just an estimated auction rate of how willing, a mother is to buy diapers from your ad. So let's say that there are, 20 given mothers at any time that would purchase from your ad today. And then you have the user value. So the user value is going to be determined here. So let's say that you're running an offer during July 4th. This is during Q2, and you're doing a 45% off offer. Most people don't even run 45% off offers during the holidays, so let alone on July 4th. It's such a, big offer that most people would think it's a pretty crazy offer during July 4th. And most would say that they would never even run an offer during July 4th. They would just, continue with their campaigns because they don't see that as a big sell day potentially. Others, your other competitors might offer 5% off because they don't want to take away significantly from their margin. And they might even offer a bundle at 10% off. Most of your competitors are probably not going to be offering some, major sale on those specific dates. It's just less likely. Whereas during, the back half of the year, during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas time, people are going to be having more, extreme offers that are really competitive. So this is where you're going to catch your competition off guard and allow you to really beat the system. So let's say that you run an offer that, none of your other competitors are running. None of them that, would really even think to run an offer as big as the one you're going to, run. And then let's say that you also made a unique ad creative. So that ad has a very specific creative talking about a very specific offer. It's going over the 45%. It's calling out that it's specifically for July 4th. And, the creative is very in tune with the July 4th theme. There's fireworks and so forth. Then you have a unique landing page that you're using with that ad to send to a landing page that also mimics, the same style. It has fireworks. It calls out the 45% off on the site banner. And that page is, loading extremely fast, and there's very few clicks that a user has to make to purchase. This is highly relevant because it's during the July 4th period. You're using, fireworks, which are very standard on a July 4th. And then also you're running an offer that is very competitive to your competitors. And you also have a very fast load time, so the post-click experience is very unique and, quick. So you're going to have a user value of, say, around 10. And user value is based on a score of 0 to 10. You either have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. It doesn't go any higher. It doesn't go any lower. Your user value can only go up to 10. And so let's just say that this user value is a score of 10 around this time period with all those other factors included. And then your competitors are offering only 5% off, or maybe at best their bundle's only 10% off. And then they're using evergreen ads. They're not even really calling out that it's a July 4th sale. They're really just, they've always ran this 5% off offer throughout the year. So, it's always been a 5% offer, but it just so happens it's during July 4th. And they're not really calling out July 4th specific creative. Their landing page has nothing to do with July 4th. It's just their standard site. There's really no special call outs. They're just using, the 5% off during that time period because that's the offer they always ran. Or at best, somebody did come up with a special offer and said this is 10% for July 4th, but their creative doesn't look July 4th, themed, or their site isn't July 4th themed either. And then therefore, since they have no unique landing page, and this is just a standard offer, your actual ad has a much higher user value than this competitor would have. So let's say that their average user value is only 2. Since they are running a special offer, which is 5% or 10%, but the rest of the stuff they just didn't care to do because they didn't see the value in it, so therefore they only have a user value of 2. So let's plug in our user value. And so essentially you'd run this formula. You would take $10, you would times that by 20, and then you would add in the user value, which essentially puts your total value at 210. So you have a total user value of 210 of the value, and that's the value score that it places against your competitor. So let's look at your competitor. They have a user value of 2. They're willing to spend $5 per purchase, and the number of people that are likely to convert are only 10. So you then take this math and you do 5 times 10, 50, and then you add the user value. So the total value they have is 52. So your total value is 210. Their total value is only 52. The bigger number wins in this case, so therefore you get more auction delivery, you get more results, you get the chance to get in front of the individuals first to get the purchase. So therefore you're going to have less cost on your CPM, you're going to have a lower cost per result, you're going to have a higher return on ad spend, you're going to be more competitive. The algorithm's going to choose to deliver your ad more than the other individual because you have a much higher score. This total value can continue to go up. If you're willing to pay, $100 per purchase, which might not be realistic, it might be way over, but that ends up making your, overall total value significantly higher, right? So you want to balance what you're willing to pay. The system will determine, how many people are likely to convert. Then it's going to take in a factor of your user value, and then it's going to calculate the total value. The important thing to note here is the more you can get these total values higher, the more likely it is that you'll convert. The higher the user value, the more auction rates that the system can determine, and the better your bid, the more results you're going to get. So that's essentially how the ad auction works. And let's just look at this campaign sale data during Q1 to Q2. You'll notice during the time period that there's less competition and less spend, and we're running offers that other individuals wouldn't likely run, like the warehouse sale, which is a 45% off. You can see directly that reflects into the return on ad spend. We're getting an 18x at a 45% off offer. Historically, we pay 25 to 35 per purchase and get around a return on ad spend of 3x. Our break-even return on ad spend is a 1.7. Anything above that is profitable. So an 18x is extremely profitable, even though we're discounting our product by 45%. But because our cost per purchase has gone down so significantly, it's allowed us to be able to achieve such a high return on ad spend. So therefore, we're actually getting better results than we would with just having our standard evergreen campaign. And then we have our Mother's Day sale, which, was a 20% off offer, or our Father's Day sale, which was a 20% off offer. And then our 5-year birthday sale. So these are all special offers that are offers that we would have more competitiveness with, which is a higher percent off or a better offer than our competitors. And we're also making sure that we're doing it during Q1 and Q2 on dates and times that, other companies or other individuals would least likely think that they should be doing these things on. So this is giving us a very competitive advantage, allowing us to get a much higher return on ad spend. Now, we also run these big offers during the later half of the year, but because there's so much competition, we'll start to see during this, time period of Q3 to Q4 that there's more competition, less room to scale. System has less data to optimize because there's so much more spend, there's so many more advertisers, and there's so much more competition happening that it's much harder to get a really solid cost per result that's at high scale. Now, the good thing is during this time period is you have a much higher action intent in terms of purchasers. So there's naturally going to be way more estimated auction rates because there's going to be more people willing to purchase around these times because they're buying for friends, family. Their spending habits are just up during the later half of the year, whereas in Q1 and Q2, there's less people, looking to spend a lot of money during that time period. People are really into routines, and human behavior around this time is just naturally, in a workflow. So you have to balance these two different things by understanding, human behavior, and then also understanding how many people are going to be willing to purchase around these times, as well as what the competition looks like. So the more competitive your offer is during this time period, the less likely it is you're not going to be able to scale. You will be able to scale if your offer is a lot more competitive. So here's what the Q3 to Q4 period looks like. We start to hit Labor Day, and then we even ran like a sell during this time frame. Advertisers really start to jump on, as you saw during Q3. Spending really starts to increase pretty heavily as we get into these later half of the year, and this runs through Black Friday. It's pretty standard to see anywhere between a 2x to 4x during Q3 and Q4. That's pretty standard for most businesses. And the ones that are achieving higher than those numbers during this time period have a really solid offer, and they really understand their audience and, what somebody's willing to make a purchase for. And so this is the time period where, you can still spend a great deal more because most businesses are looking to get rid of their marketing budgets towards the end of the year, and spending is just up naturally at the later half of the year. So the main thing here is just really focusing on a really solid offer towards the latter half of the year. But at the same time, at the beginning half of the year, you can get way more results and scale way faster because you're catching everyone else by surprise. So that is essentially, the breakdown here over the course of the entire year. And the ad auction rates are really important to understand here, so that way you can have a good idea of how to be more competitive and you can catch your competition by surprise. So what we covered today was the campaign special offer stack, stacking your lookalikes, retargeting, interest, and running these as special offers. Your campaign sale data, going over exactly what those metrics look like, and so that way you can understand the data behind it. And then the Facebook quarterly statistics, so that way you can be aware of how much spend is going out and how many advertisers are, active at any given time throughout the year. How the ad auction works, so that way you can be more competitive during this time period. And then the best practices for these campaign setups on special offers. So I hope you really enjoyed this module, and I will see you on the next one.